and thank you for joining me on another episode of A Doctor's Journey. Right now, I'm sitting in the South Pacific with Australia and New Zealand off to my left, and I want to talk to you a little bit about COVID and traveling and being responsible when you do so. I know the CDC has provided some guidance, but sometimes when you read it, you may not find what's relatable to you, and I want you to just be clear on how to move forward with traveling and doing so responsibly. So for me, I've lived my life as if travel was my therapy. And during the lockdown, I gained the COVID 15 pounds like everyone else that was moving from the fridge to the TV. Now that I have a better understanding of the virus and how things work, I'm able to navigate having fun, but having fun responsibly. So I'm going to talk a little bit about traveling via cruise ship because as you can tell, I'm in the South Pacific and I'm not paddling on a boat. Cruise ships are testing before you get on board, and all guests are required to be vaccinated. Sometimes if we're in a destination where there are higher instances of COVID-19, we're in a bubble where we cannot interact with the locals and we have to stay on cruise book excursions. Now you may say, well, I hear about COVID-19 on cruise ships all the time. And yes, and that's because they are testing more, so they will find more. Right now, you can get on an aircraft to any destination in the Caribbean and South America. I think the United States is the only place requiring that you be COVID negative before entering. So because those restrictions have lifted, it may look like, those destinations are not having COVID-19, which is not true. It's just that they're not testing. So while being on a cruise ship, you have to assess what's high risk and what's low risk. So I would never dine at a buffet. And if I was to dine, I would do early dining when the restaurant's just open and I'm the first customer. I'll also make sure that I'm spaced out reasonably from other guests. I do not walk on board without a mask. I don't do indoor parties. So they may have like an indoor show, but I would elect for like an outdoor mega deck party. And even in those instances, I would still wear a mask. Now, when you're on board, you may be the only person wearing a mask, but don't feel pressured because just like how they reserve the right to not wear a mask, you reserve the right to wear one. And it's the same thing for traveling on an airplane. Yes, they clean and the cabin air is refiltered every 5 or to 15 minutes, but you can still wear a mask and you can still wear a shield if you feel like, there's someone next to you exhibiting symptoms or, you hear someone 3 seats away coughing. Don't be afraid and don't shy away and don't, not want to do what is right because you want to fit in. This is not about fitting in, it's about having fun responsibly. Now, when you travel to resorts, my godmother will tell you, my first trip during COVID, I brought my own sheets, I brought my own towels. The only thing left for me to bring was my own bed and kitchen sink. But as time progressed, I've found other ways how to navigate it, such as sanitizing the room and re-sanitizing once I've arrived. So I bring my Lysol and I Lysol down the phones and the light switches and the remotes and the TV and those high touch areas. Then I would walk out of the room for like 15 to 20 minutes because I don't want to die from inhaling Lysol. Once I come back, I limit how much housekeeping comes into my room. Because remember, these individuals have to clean other rooms too. So you don't want to not be able to trace back where your exposure comes from. I will take towels and soap and, replenish my bathroom, but I would limit the number of times that they actually come in to service my unit. And just like a cruise ship in a resort, I'll do early dining. And I will make sure that I avoid those indoor spaces and indoor events where there are lots of unmasked individuals. Now that you know these tips on how to travel safely, I hope you not only find them useful, but use them to get back out there and enjoy life. We have gotten to a point in the pandemic where we're now living with the virus. We're finding new coping mechanisms because waiting for COVID to be over is sounding like waiting to win the lottery. And I don't know what your odds are, but I think mine is like 1 in a billion. So I have found these ways of how to cope and how to travel safely. and they've been working for me. This is my third cruise ship, and I've never tested positive for COVID-19. And I've been on plenty of destination travels, and I've used these tips as well, and I've always gotten back home safe. If you have any additional questions, don't hesitate to ask, and I hope you found these tips helpful. Bye-bye for now.